Way back in the late 70s and early 80s, Lauren Tweez, along with the rest of the cast of Aaron Spelling's The Love Boat, was part of my must-see TV on Saturday nights. I loved everything about the show. The cast was great. For 9 seasons, they held together multiple storylines and frequently interacted with some really wonderful guest stars. Lauren, as the cruise director, Julie McCoy was there to keep things sane and those storylines moving along. She was a very critical part of the show, and in my mind, kind of the breakout star during those early seasons. So with all that said, I bet you can't guess who her favorite guest star on the show was. If I already didn't know, I might go with someone like Charo or Tom Hanks or even Donny Osmond. But if I went with those answers, I'd be wrong. Because you see, this man was Lauren's favorite guest star. Yep, Mr. Vincent Price, the star of oh so many horror films from the 50s and 60s. Lauren, during a fairly recent interview, said that Vincent during his time on the show was smart, funny, and kind. 3 words you don't always hear these days when it comes to a description of a star of Vincent's caliber. In that interview, Lauren reminisced about Vincent's appearance on the Love Boat in an episode titled Ship of Ghouls. She reflected on the time that they spent together in between takes talking about art, food, and other topics that, well, Lauren just found them absolutely fascinating. You can find the entire interview right here on YouTube. I'll post a link to it at the end of this video just in case you're interested in hearing more. In the same interview, Lauren was also asked who her least favorite guest star was, and you know what? I've got to give kudos to Lauren, because she would not answer that question. The interviewer pressed her to, without saying a name, just describe the guest star, and even then she declined. She said something like our world is so full of ugly stuff, she didn't want to add to that conversation. I was so impressed with that response, and Lauren, you are absolutely correct. In a world where every opinion is given a platform through the various social networks, there's no need to add fuel to that fire. Unless there's something positive. Or if not that, at least something that's productive to be said. So as long as we're talking about Lauren, here's a quick update. She remains close to her former castmates from the show. That chemistry that existed way back in the late 70s and early 80s, well, it still runs strong even today. And a few years back, before the Pacific Princess was mothballed, she was invited back to that ship to celebrate her 60th birthday. I think it's great that she still feels connected to the cruise line and is able to accept invitations such as this one. To sum things up, Lauren takes things day by day and enjoys each one to its fullest. And that, my friends, is what we should all be doing. Alright, now it's your turn. Please share your memories in the comments section, and while you're at it, I would appreciate a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. And what the heck? Why not subscribe to the channel? I talk about music, movies, and mostly television from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.
Picture, if you will, a channel whose sole objective is provided the best in vintage sci-fi horror, the best of modern humor, and the worst Rod Serling impression in recorded history. And you found it in the Thrash Pondo Zone. A message to be filed under M for monetization, here in the Twilight Zone.
Hey, you guys! I say this calls for action, and now, nip it in the bud.
Michelle Pfeiffer? The only true Catwoman is Julie Newmar, Lee Merriweather, or Eartha Kitt. And I didn't need molded plastic to improve my physique. Pure West.
Good morning, angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
I love it when a plan comes together.
It's time. Let's talk about music, movies, and mostly television from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff.
The Livestream Code and Rating Administration has rated this online event PG. All ages admitted. Please be kind and stay on topic.
Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice.
It's showtime.
Good evening to one and all. Welcome to the Good Stuff Live. My name is Dave Sundstrom. And if you enjoy talking about music, movies, mostly TV, from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, well, you have come to the right place. Folks, I'm really excited about tonight's live stream. And but before I get going, I wanted to just shout out to my friend Danny Staten. He has had I got a text from him earlier today and has had a loss in his family. And I just want him to know that my thoughts and prayers are with him this evening. And it's never easy when you lose a family member. So I wanted to let him know that I'm thinking about him. So with that, let's keep moving because we really do have a great live stream tonight. So here's the deal. A couple of weeks ago, I got an email from a wonderful YouTube creator who goes by the name of Jill, who has a channel called YesterKitchen. I think I might have in the community section shared a video or two of hers in the past. And what she does is she talks about all sorts of retro food. It's a retro food channel is what it is. It's food and cooking and great stories, all with just a touch of nostalgia to it. And so let me I'm going to bring her on in just a second. But I want to, because I do have a guest here and we have a topic, it's going to be a little different than sometimes the way we handle like the chat, which is if you put a question in the chat, if you could just throw a Q maybe in front of that question so that I can recognize it as such. And we will get to those questions later on, probably, I don't know, after the bottom of the hour. So probably in a half hour or more. But we'll get to those questions. And yes, Daryl Johnston, you have to be polite. You always have to be polite. Have to be kind and stay on topic. That's important. So without any further ado, let me bring Jill on. Hang on 1 second. There she is. You know what? I like this one better. Jill, how are you this evening?
I'm great, Dave. How are you?
Awesome. Well, I was telling the community that I got this email from you, and I just, first off, you said nice things about the channel. That always goes a long way with me. And then I went over to your channel and checked out what you were doing. I thought, oh my goodness, this is absolutely great. There's so many, channels out there on YouTube that are, cooking and food channels. But I don't think I've ran across another one like yours where, it's mixed in with just a real nice touch of, so some folks call it retro. I like to think of it as nostalgia. So,
well, thank you.
It's good stuff. Tell me a little bit. I'm going to show a clip of one of your videos here in just a minute. But before we do that, tell me a little bit about what happened. How did you get into this whole YouTube game?
Because I was crazy.
Yeah.
So I have been studying food history and I've been cooking for like over 40 years. And it's just my passion. It's a lifelong passion. And I've always had this curiosity of where dishes came from. So that's where I actually call myself a culinary storyteller. because I take dishes from the 30s to the 80s, so almost your decades, just
Yes.
2 more, because I like to talk about World War II and the Depression. And then I tell the stories behind it, and about, because everything, we eat things all the time and they had to come from somewhere, right? And those are the
Right.
stories I tell. So it's mainly, I do a lot from the 60s and 70s, and that's where all the nostalgia and retro and childhood memories. I mean, it's become a place of childhood memories, because I get comments all the time about people saying, I remember my mom made this and this is how she made it, or my grandma made it and this is how she made it. And that was a happy surprise. So it just became an absolutely heartwarming place. So I really just love to share the recipes, share the stories. I really do it so these dishes don't get lost in history, because nowadays, if you go to some websites or TVs, they'll just say, oh, you don't want to cook like the 60s. That's just so yuck, right? And it's like, no, it's not. It's history. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I came from. About 3 years ago, I decided to just jump in and start a YouTube channel. And it's been fun. It's a lot of work, but it's been fun. It's been so much fun. And I'm having a blast. I have an amazing audience. They're all so wonderful. They all share their stories all the time. And so when I found you, I'm like, oh my God, he does the same thing I do, but with TV, And so I'm like, I gotta say hi.
So I'm curious, is this like a joint effort? You have a helper there, or is this all you?
I have an editor. But all the filming, all the writing, all the research, it's all me.
Awesome.
It's all me sharing my passion.
I think folks sometimes think that there's a ton of people that are involved in like the creation of YouTube channels. And in some cases there are, right?
Yeah.
But I think in so many more cases, my channel and your channel, it's just kind of a labor of love, and it's one person behind the scenes. My son was joking with me earlier today. He was telling me that there was a comment somewhere on one of my videos where it said, I love this company's or these guys' videos, but they really got to get rid of the narrator. Well, there's a problem there. You get rid of that's all we got. It's just me.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and it's just me. Yeah. So it's like.
Well, without any further ado, let me go ahead and just tee up like a 30-second clip of your channel. And this is a video that I just watched the other day. It's I love kids' food. I'm a big kid at heart, and so you did the video on these frankfurters and Spanish rice.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So I'll go ahead and play that.
Okay. But today we are doing Spanish rice with frankfurters. Woo! I know. I just wanted something fun and different. Believe me, there's plenty others in there. I just wanted something fun and different. And I know a lot of you write to me or leave comments saying, do you ever make stuff for kids? So I did do one kid recipe right there. And I'm going to do another one today, which surprisingly also involves hot dogs. This is so easy. Let's get started. Let's go. Okay, we have.
Love it. So much fun. And it looked awesome. It looked very awesome when you finished that thing up.
It's delicious. Everything I make is easy, and everything I make is just yum.
My experience has been there's typically oodles of butter and lots of cheese in the recipes, at least some of the recipes I've seen you make.
Oh, yeah. Well, Julia Child said, if you don't have butter, use cream, right?
Absolutely. That is awesome. So you talk about these recipes that are long gone by. I got to share with you, we were talking before the live stream started about, some of my memories in terms of my mother's own cooking. And I shared with you the fact that my mom, she was the greatest mom in the world. She just, holy cow. She passed away a couple of years ago and I miss her so much. But so I say all that. You folks know I love my mom, but she did not love to cook at all. She did not in any way enjoy that part of being a mom or a wife. And so we had a number of, if she saw a recipe that she, typically on the back of some sort of product, food product, right, that you'd pick up at the store, she would often try it. And the recipe that my brother and I, we still reminisce about, that it wasn't great, but it just stuck out in our heads. Have you ever heard of someone taking one of those big shredded wheats, not the little shredded wheats, but you take a big shredded wheat and then you slather it with mustard, and then you put on a layer of Spam on top of it. She probably found this recipe either on a shredded wheat box or a Spam container. And then on top of that is like mozzarella cheese. You put that in the oven, and that is your main course. Have you ever heard of anything like that? That monstrosity.
That one is new to me.
Yeah, but it's interesting. It's like I'll look at some retro magazines, older magazines from the 50s and 60s, and quite often you'll see recipes in there. There'll be a product that they're selling and a recipe attached. And I don't know if you've done this yet. Where do you get most of your recipes?
Most of my recipes, and I'm a little sick, so sorry. And I'm sorry it's so bright.
Oh, it's fine. You sound and look great. And thank you so much. You told me earlier today that you were fighting a cold, and thank you so much for just soldiering through and hanging out with us.
I'm so excited to be here. Most of my recipes come from vintage cookbooks. That's kind of my study books, and I have them actually through the 1900s. So I actually that's my passion. I go and I read cookbooks. A lot of the dishes I just know, because I've got 40 years rattling around in my brain, and there's just so many that's like, oh, I've got to do this. I've got to do this. And then the third place is I get a lot of viewer requests. And so a lot of times I'll do viewer requests. Like the history of jambalaya is coming up in about a month, and that is from 2 viewers requested. So
what is the craziest thing that you've made on your channel so far?
Oh my God, my favorite thing came out of the 50s, and it is, oh my God, what is it called? My brain is just freezing right now. It's a head of cabbage.
Yeah.
Okay? And you take those little tiny smoky hot dogs.
Yeah, those smokies.
Okay. And you put them on toothpicks, and you put them all around the cabbage. Oh, it's called flaming head cabbage or flaming cabbage head. It's one of my episodes. And you put them all around the cabbage, and then you core out the core, and you take a sterno.
Yeah.
And you stick it in the cabbage, and you light it. And so what the guests do is they pull the little sausage out, and they kind of warm the sausage on the sterno, and then you put little dishes around with like ketchup and mustard and barbecue sauce. And
so is the cabbage meant to be edible or merely a holder for the little smokies?
Just a holder. It is pure 50s.
Goodness.
In the 50s, people came over to your house and you entertained, right?
Yeah.
You didn't throw out a bag of chips and salsa. You cooked and you entertained, and it was fancy. Very 40s, very 50s, very 60s. And it's just total impress your guests. And this thing actually, it's fabulous. It's just fabulous and fun. It's like it's before DIY was DIY.
Yeah. I love the name. Flaming Cabbage Head. It sounds like something that someone would get called.
Right?
Yeah.
It's great. That's one of my all-time favorites.
You mentioned to me prior to the live stream that you have a book. Talk to us about your book.
So my book is coming out in May. And it's called Every Dish Has a Story, which also happens to be my tagline for my show.
Right.
And so when I was talking about how people would always share their childhood memories with me, so I have hundreds of people sharing these. So one day I got this inspiration to write a book and to share some childhood food memories. So it's more of a storybook with recipes than a cookbook.
Yeah.
And it's like I interviewed about 24 people, and every one of them I asked the same question to, and that was, what was the one dish that brought you back to your childhood? And they would tell me the whole story. So I'm sharing like a piece of their childhood with you. And then at the very end, I share the recipe. And it's just like a very heartwarming, happy storybook. And it's coming out in May. Super duper excited.
How are people going to find it? I mean, obviously they can go to your channel, and I'm sure you'll post a link there, but are they going to be able to just go on to like Amazon and type in YesterKitchen and find it?
Yeah. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all the typical resellers.
Awesome.
And if I would have known how much involved it was to write a book before I wrote the book, I would have never written the book, but I'm here now and I'm done. And it's like, we're just wrapping up, and I will be releasing some videos on my channel as we get closer to just like, hey, we're almost there and stuff.
Very
like that.
cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
thank
Published author. Wow. I should have used that as the introduction. We have published author with us this evening.
Well, I'll be published in May.
That's
But yeah,
awesome. Well, I
published.
mean, it's all just a formality at this
Oh,
point.
it's beyond
That's cool.
exciting. So
Awesome.
so as long as so that is the theme of my book, but I also talk a little bit in my book about how what we eat as children, how it kind of gets decided in the brain and stores with us, and how we eat as children affect us food wise as for what we are as adults. And so I get into that a little bit too. So can I ask you, because I ask every time I tell people the story,
Yeah.
the what my book is about, everyone just immediately starts telling me their childhood food memories.
Right.
So what was yours?
Yeah, well, I shared with you before the live stream, and but I'm going to share it again because it's probably my mom didn't like to cook, so we had a couple things. One thing my mom always did, and I found this, maybe this is, like you said, Julia Child said that butter makes everything better, but I question this.
Okay.
My mom would put butter on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So she would butter the inside because she really adhered to that belief as well. Butter made everything better.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
But and along the same lines, a very common dinner at the Sundstrom home growing up was she just couldn't, she just wanted to cook something fast and feed us and needed to be filling. So she'd take a big bowl, or those like the curly macaroni noodles.
Yeah.
She would cook those up, and then she would just bring a big bowl of that over, and then she'd plop in literally a cube of butter and stir it all around and salt and pepper it a little bit. And then she would, the standard side dish for all of our meals in the Sundstrom home was toast. And so there'd be toast along with this big bowl of butter noodles.
Wow.
And we loved it, right? We loved it. We did not know any better. We loved it. We thought it was awesome. And nowadays I'm spoiled because I told you I'm married into a family that loves to cook. My wife is a phenomenal cook, and her mother was a phenomenal cook. And so I can't imagine, butter noodles being served up. But
Right.
But it was such a great memory. And my dad would always say he'd say, Margaret, I don't know how you've done it. You've taken nature's essentials and turned it into a magnificent feast. And,
Oh.
we believed him. I think there might have been an element of sarcasm there. Now, as I look at that comment growing up, he might not have appreciated it. I don't know. But that's definitely a memory that I have of
That's awesome.
my mom. Yeah.
And just to watch you smile while you talk about it. I mean,
Right.
that's what memories do. That's what nostalgia does. It's
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I did ask you when you emailed me and introduced yourself. I said, well, let's come on to a live stream and let's talk about a TV show.
Yeah.
And so the folks know, and I think about a year plus, we may have talked about this on a prior live stream, but it's been long enough that we can talk about it again because it's one of my favorite as well. And by the way, folks, later on, we're going to be doing a drawing and we're giving away Season 1 DVD of Season 1 Volume 1 of The Love Boat. So hold tight. And but let's go ahead and watch a quick introduction to The Love Boat, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay, hang on. In the late 70s and early 80s, Saturday nights were all about the Aaron Spelling created Love Boat. And the show had such a great cast. There was Lauren Twees and the amazing, the wonderful Gavin MacLeod, and future politician Fred Grandy was great as well as lovable old golfer. He was kind of the show's Gilligan. Heck, they were all really talented, and there was a lot of chemistry between the cast members. Geez, I feel like I have to give a shout out to all of the guys on the show. Ted Lang, Bernie Koppel, and Jill Whelan. Nope, I can't leave any of them out. The Love Boat ran for 9 seasons. After that, there were some additional special episodes and even a sequel of sorts called Love Boat: The Next Wave. Yep, each Saturday night my sister Valerie and I would settle in for at least an hour's worth of TV. If we were lucky, our folks let us stay up for Fantasy Island as well. Another thing that made this show so popular was the great guest stars that they had on this show. Truly a fantastic list of Hollywood's who's who from decades gone by, as well as up-and-coming stars. And behind it all was the allure of the Pacific Princess. You know, I think Gavin MacLeod can explain it best.
They come to her as strangers. Some are young, some are starting over. And through the magic that she alone possesses, somehow she brings them together. And out of strangers, she makes lovers.
The Love Boat. She's with you.
We're with you on ABC. With you.
All right, there we go. The Love Boat. So, Jill,
love it.
You asked me about a memory I have.
Yeah.
When it comes to cooking, I'm going to ask you if you have a favorite Love Boat memory, something about the show that just, I don't know, resonates.
The magic of the show was just seeing who was on every week, because the show was really a place that every celebrity wanted to wind up. And by the time I actually did a Love Boat episode myself, so I have a little trivia. So by the time they were done, they had over 1,000 guest stars.
Wow.
And I think just being a kid, and it was Love Boat Fantasy Island, right? Everybody knows that. And just like when you're a kid, you're not going out, right? You're a kid. So just looking forward to the Saturday night with the Love Boat and see who was on. I loved every single cast member. I think I especially liked Isaac, but every single cast member I loved. And just like you got to see, Christy McNichol and Scott Bound in an episode. I loved John Ritter when he pretended he was a woman. I mean, I just, one of my favorites is kind of when Love Boat was dying, when they were just trying everything they could to keep the show alive. But the Love Boat Follies with Ethel Merman and Carol Channing, right? And Della
Did they have the mermaids then? Was that like so far where they had the...
I think the mermaids were later. I think it was before the mermaids. It was like 82.
Before the mermaids. Okay.
Maybe 81. So, but because they weren't. I actually just watched it last night because I forgot all about it, and the mermaids were not on there, and neither was Ace. But they tried. They really tried to salvage the show, but it had a magic to it in its heyday. It absolutely had a magic. Just when you saw the ship and that the theme song began and the wheel began, you're just like, who's on tonight? And actually, when you showed Vincent Price at the beginning, I remember that episode. It was, everyone, it's like your children, how do you decide? They were all good.
I remember, so for me, my sister and I have a sister that is 10 months younger than me. And she and I would sit down, and you're right, the music would start, and then it would be like showing who's going to be on that week, and we'd always be super excited because who would it be? Sometimes we had the advantage of a TV guide that would give us a bit of an idea as to who might be the guest, but other times we didn't, and it was just a surprise. And that was a bonding time for me with my sister, because we both liked that show, and there were so very few shows that we actually enjoyed watching together. And it was that plus you remember what came right after, right?
Fantasy Island.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a double header. I mean, really the two just perfectly, because they had similar formats where they had guest stars, both of them, and multiple stories being told.
Yeah.
And they were just perfect. Sometimes if my folks were on a date and they'd gone out to eat or something, we could definitely stay up for Fantasy Island. Sometimes they tried to put us to bed,
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know how that went. I actually went back and watched Fantasy Island years later and thought, why did I like this? But Love Boat has totally stood the test of time.
Holds up.
Totally. Yeah. It just still to this day makes me happy and makes me want to go on a cruise. And
right. Speaking of wanting to go on a cruise, I was telling my wife that we were going to be talking about the Love Boat tonight. And she said, the thing and she has similar memories. Her and her sister would watch the Love Boat, and parents would bring home leftovers, and they'd, watch the second half of the Love Boat with leftovers from Chinese restaurant or somewhere. But she said the biggest disappointment for her was once she and I went on a cruise, because neither of us went on cruises as kids, right? We had no clue. But we went for our 5th wedding anniversary. We went on a Carnival cruise. It was our first cruise. And, we get to our room and we open it up, and it's this tiny little thing. And she's like, where's the Love Boat room?
Right?
Where's the Love Boat room? And I'm sure that, people that were ponying up the big bucks got the Love Boat room, but we felt a little deceived by Love Boat.
Actually, that's the one thing Love Boat did, is it really set expectations for
Yeah.
cruises. And it's like I was watching one last night. I don't remember anyway, she said, I'm gonna go draw a bath. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like in my
How is
room,
that
you have to soap the walls and spin, in the shower, because that's how small it is. But it's like they people actually went on expecting the big entertainment, the big grandiose, and actually Isaac, a couple years after Love Boat started, all the ship bartenders, a lot of them, started growing mustaches because that was the expectation. So it's just, I mean, it's magic, absolutely magic.
So Isaac's your favorite?
Very, by that much. I love them all. I love them all.
Okay.
I love watching Doc chase women, and I love watching when have you ever been on a cruise where the crew is actually in the bar drinking and picking up on people, and it's awesome.
Yeah, they were the best crew ever. I asked my community. I gave them a list of the original crew members. So no Vicky, no Ace, none of, just the original 5 crew members of the show, and asked them who their favorites were. And this is what they told me. I wonder is this a surprise at all to you that Julie ended up being number 1?
I actually am surprised. She was awesome, but I actually am surprised. But I'm happy to see Isaac coming in a close second.
Yeah, that one actually surprised me. I mean, I like Ted Lang and loved his character of Isaac, but I kind of thought that Fred Grandy's Gopher might be second. And I think Isaac gave him a thorough thumping. That wasn't even close. 27 to 21%. Yeah. He was really close to Julie. I was surprised at how popular Isaac is.
Yeah. Wow.
And I was a little disappointed that Captain Steubing only got, what was that?
8.
Look again. 8%. Come on.
That's
people show them a little more love. He's your captain.
Right? He runs the ship. Maybe. He's never up on the bridge, but he runs the ship.
Well, you know what? I want to let me just quickly look in here and see what we've got. We do have a couple questions, and let me see if I can find some memories here too.
Oh, good.
Let's pull this one up real quick. This is a question, and it's to you, Jill. It says, question: does your guest have a cookbook that people can purchase? And please relate to her that once your viewers are loyal to channels, they are very loyal. Yes. And that I'm sure they would be loyal to hers as well. So I am relaying that to you, Jill.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
And I don't know if John came in late or what, but what is the title of that cookbook that's coming out in May again?
It's not exactly a cookbook, but it is a book, and it's called Every Dish Has a Story. And I'll be announcing it on my channel when it comes out. I don't know exactly when in May, but it'll be in Amazon and all the other places to get a book. And what it is, it's almost like a storybook with recipes.
Yes.
And I do have another cookbook, but that's kind of in the works. So there might be one coming out that's kind of following my channel in the future.
Awesome. So hold tight. If you subscribe to YesterKitchen, and let me do this really quick I know I showed the clip, but I'd love to show just a screenshot of your channel. It's so well put together.
Oh, thank you.
There we go. There's the YesterKitchen channel. Every dish has a story. And there's the video I just watched. The Frankfurters in Spanish rice video was awesome. So, folks, it just costs you nothing to subscribe. And the great thing about it, if you do, you get, you can choose whether you want to be notified, or if you don't hit the bell, what will happen is it simply will show up in your feed on the front page, that type of thing, when there's a new video. But otherwise, if you hit that bell, then you even get notifications as to when new videos are published. So I'd encourage you to, definitely go over. Here's what Jill doesn't need. She doesn't need you to just go click on the subscribe button. Because if you do that, and this happens for any YouTube creator, and then you never watch any of our videos, that actually kind of hurts a creator. Because YouTube puts these videos in front of people on the front page and those kind of things. And when they're not viewed, then they don't show the videos as much. So go watch a video or 2 or 3. get to know Jill and see if this is the kind of YouTube channel that you think would be entertaining and enlightening and that you'd enjoy. And if that's the case, then definitely hit that subscribe button.
Well, thank you very much for that. And I always reply to all the comments.
Yes, I noticed that. Very important. Well done. All right. Hey, I'm going to again remind folks, and I haven't seen anything in the chat section that would cause me to be concerned, but we've got a lot of people here. And it would be great if everybody just does their very, very darndest to be kind and stay on topic. Super important. And the live stream at most is rated PG. That's the goal. All right. So, Jill, here's what we're going to do. Let me see if there's another comment here for you. Hang on a second. Let's see. Oh, another one. Oh, wait. I wanted to share this one from Skip Rock Jr. He says, my dad never had food in the house, so we ate a lot of bread sandwiches, which is 3 slices of bread. You got bread, and then you put bread in the middle.
Why not? Oh.
Apparently, they talked about them in the Cleveland show, Skip Rock is saying. That is too funny. I've never, my mom, she did like to just take a piece of bread and butter it like someone would toast, but never had a bread sandwich.
No.
Have you, Jill?
No, there's always been something in the middle.
Another question from John Collins for you, Jill, is what is your favorite dessert to make?
Wow. That's a tough one. Believe it or not, I'm a big fan of old school Toll House chocolate chip cookies because they're just so good.
Yes.
But pineapple upside down cake is another one of my favorites. It's just so old school. It really was started by Dole Pineapple. And it actually was the winner of a recipe contest back in the 20s.
Wow.
And I can't help myself. This is where I start telling stories. And so I love that. And I love anything from the Pillsbury Bake Off because that's just so much history. So I've got a lot of, I don't have a one top favorite, but I've got a lot.
Well, what I always say is that I'll tell you a favorite, but I reserve the right to change my mind tomorrow because there's, when it comes to TV shows or movies or anything like that, there's, I just have so many favorites. John Collins asks you again, Jill, in your videos, do you always put the instructions and ingredients in writing on the screen so that people can pause the video and make recipes along with you or on it or on their own time?
Every recipe is on the screen. It flashes as I'm using it, and the full recipe will always be in the description. So you can just go down there. Awesome. And they're all easy. All of them. Make them. Have some history.
Another comment from John. He says, I'm in my 40s, so I genuinely don't know the same. What is the Love Boat designed as a vehicle to specifically, purposely have guest stars? Almost like a variety show with a cruise ship as a backdrop? No, John, you definitely, I think Love Boat's on Pluto, and you should watch it. Basically what it is, Jill mentioned this, is it had oodles of guest stars, typically old-timey movie stars, current stars on TV shows, and even up-and-coming stars. And they would have multiple stories woven in over the course of the hour, and it was a comedy, and it was scripted, and you had these 5 crew members additionally that would interact with the stories. Anything you'd add to that, Jill?
No. There were 3 stories in every episode. Each one was written by a separate writer, and it was always one comedy, one like romance story, and then one that what they wanted to try to go more of current events, like something about whatever's going on. So and then they would kind of weave that with the like you said, with the crew member kind of being the glue to hold all that together.
Exactly. Let me see if there's anything else here. Oh, John H. says, speaking of Gopher and Fred Grandy, I remember Monster Squad. I knew Fred Grandy from that show first. Monster Squad, Jill, I don't know if you remember this, was a Saturday morning show on NBC where this young man, in this case Fred Grandy, is actually allied with Frankenstein, Dracula, and the Wolfman. It was a live action show, and they want to make amends for their former terrors that they foisted upon everybody, and they're now kind of superheroes, and they're fixing things and solving crimes. It's
how cool!
A silly show, but as a kid, I loved it.
I love that.
Yeah. Let me see if there's any other comments I want to right now show. I don't see any others with Q's in there. So, I'll get to those. If I see Q's in there, I will highlight those and flag them, and we'll talk about them later.
Sounds great.
First off, Danny says, how did I miss the poll? It was an older poll. I did it like a year ago. You probably actually participated, Danny. And let's see. Tom McCluskey, also known as the Hungry Jerk, said how many voted. It was about 2,500 people.
Wow.
And Skip Rock is correcting me on my pronunciation. I thought it was Lang, but he says it's Lange. Lange. So there you go. I say things wrong all the time. John H. says, this is another good one. Love Boat had a great bit around 1983 when Robert Reed and Florence Henderson were both on the show, but in different stories. They came across each other at breakfast and looked at each other.
I totally remember that. Remember that. That was classic because it was just like a quick glance and then they went on to their character. It was perfect.
Too funny. Too funny. All right. So let's do this. I'll again kind of keep an eye on those questions and comments and flag some of them as we go along. But I want to get to, I always feel like I need to share some retro commercials. There are commercials.
Great.
That sponsors we don't have that from an era gone by that I enjoy sharing with you, and feedback has been that you enjoy it as well. So we'll do some commercials. I'm going to then quiz Jill on a few of her favorite things, and then we will give away Season 1, Volume 1 of The Love Boat. All right. So let me click over here. It's like a juggling act when you're doing these live streams, Jill.
You're like, I'm so impressed. I could never do this. I'm very impressed.
All right, here we go. We'll be back after these messages.
Hello, I'm Lauren Tweed. For the past 7 years, a lot has been written about me. But in the new issue of TV Guide, I speak for myself about what I experienced working on a television series, about the pressures and the insecurities. Sometimes it hurt to tell the truth about the past, but it sure helped me to be free of it.
Lauren Tweez as you've never known her before, exclusively in TV Guide.
Ever wonder what happens when you click on that little join button and become a super fan of the channel? Well, the thing that you might notice right away is that I do my best to prioritize your comments and respond to them first. It's the very least that I can do. And if you stick around for a while, you'll probably also discover the channel member updates. These are exclusive videos that I do 2 to 3 times a month. I gave away a bunch of Remind magazines during the last one. And we have exclusive live streams from time to time. Not every month, but at least a couple of times each quarter. But more than anything else, you have my total appreciation. I know it's only a couple of bucks, but it takes effort to click on that join button and express your support in that unique way. Here's the current list of channel subscribers who have signed up as members and become super fans of the channel. Thanks again.
Charlie's Angels will return in a moment.
We're digging in. We're digging in. America's digging into planters.
Americans who love digging into snacks dig into Planters, like Planters mixed nuts. Lots of everybody's favorite fresh roasted nuts.
Working hard and having fun. Planters nuts are America's #1. We're digging in. We're digging in. America's digging into Planters.
There is an inexorable force in the cosmos where time and space converge, where the here and now may be forever. An unavoidable whole, moving through space, swallowing everything in its path. Now, man is about to enter the black hole. A journey that begins where everything ends. Rated PG.
To Tomorrow on 2020, Michael Jackson, a star at 10 and a superstar at 19. How does he keep his head straight in an unreal world? Plus, an update on Elvis's death. Is there a cover-up? And millions of fans await the arrival of the Enterprise. Tomorrow on 2020.
Sunday, Battlestar Galactica receives a visitor from beyond all galaxies.
This man is some kind of a god.
Demonic messiah with the power of life and death. Then the world premiere movie that tells what it really takes.
Not just sex.
To be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. Tomorrow on ABC.
All right, we are back after our commercial messages. So I teased this, but I've prepped you, so I did give you fair warning. We have a new section, new part of the live stream that I'm calling a few of my favorite things. So cue up the sound of music, and I'm going to ask you a few of your favorite things. So first question for you, Jill. What is your favorite nostalgic television show and why?
Well, it is The Love Boat.
Well, then why?
But, it just, for a child watching, it was just so glamorous and so wow, I can't believe people do this and I want to do this too. And just, it was just so awe-inspiring. Yeah. And it was really like no other show out there. So it really took you on a cruise, even though most of it was in the soundstage. Yeah. It took you on a cruise and you got to, and as a kid, before you really had boyfriends and stuff, you got to experience love and romance and it was just, it just covered all bases and it was just magical. It was absolutely magical.
Love it. Okay. Favorite actor or actress from a TV show?
Mary Tyler Moore. To this day, I love that show. It is just the pinnacle of the 70s, and if you go back and you watch it now and you hear the topics they talk about and how they address them, it's just, it's like somebody took a chunk out of the 70s, and that happens to be my favorite decade, and just froze it in time. Yeah. And it's, so she was actually, that was actually my very close second when I was deciding what to tell you. Every person on that cast was actually amazing. So
you're talking about the Mary Tyler Moore show.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Where Lou Grant, I love that. That girl's got spunk.
Oh, yeah.
Spunk.
Right? Oh, my God. That interview was awesome. And, of course, Gavin McLeod was Murray, who went to the Love Boat.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And do you remember? I remember watching this with my folks, and for some reason, they didn't appreciate this episode. I remember them, but I remember thinking it was pretty darn funny. Do you remember the one where she's laughing at the funeral of the clown?
I do. The peanut.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so funny. Good stuff. I do have to say, though, that I think I might be a bigger Mary Tyler Moore fan I love the Dick Van Dyke Show. DVD is just.
Yep. That was a great one, too.
The best.
Absolutely.
And Mary, so just.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right. Was there a particular TV program that brought your whole family together?
Yeah. Friday nights, Happy Days, and Laverne and Shirley. Nice. Everyone came to watch that. And I think it was great because that's the era of my parents, where they're growing up. So we would watch it and they would actually tell how, things were really like, and of course he didn't love the Fonz. Yeah. So easily
that actually happens these days in our home where we sit down and watch the Goldbergs on Wednesday night because it's all about the 80s and I'll correct a lot of things. They get a lot of things right, but they get a lot of things wrong too.
Yeah, TV. Because the people that wrote it probably weren't alive.
Right.
Tiny.
I think the Goldbergs is the equivalent of Happy Days.
Yeah.
This decade, this generation's Happy Days, and that it's been on for 9 seasons now. Crazy and just a lot of fun. But it's a TV kind of glossed over version of what the 80s were really like.
80s are awesome.
Yeah, they were awesome. They were incredible. All right. What is your most vivid television memory?
Well, the best thing I can tell you is it wasn't exactly television, well, a show, but it was more of experiencing. Like, I mean, I could just, because of your channel, I totally thought back to so many memories, you know, and like Saturday morning, you know, my favorites were the Sid and Marty Krofft series, right? The Sigmund and the Sea Monsters and HR and Lidsville and all that. And it's just insane, nonsensical happiness that really had no, you know, message, you know, or no, it was just there.
I love that memory that you have there. I mean, I was one of those kids that I would ask my dad if I could take his alarm clock. He used an alarm clock to get up to go to work on weekdays, and there was the only alarm clock in the house. We'd unplug it. I'd put it in my bedroom, set it for out here in Utah. Cartoons started at 6 a.m. Set it for 6 a.m. Sometimes I got up, sometimes I didn't, but I always set it so that I could, you know, get in a solid 4 to 5 hours of cartoon with my. Now, did you have a cereal that you ate along with? I was always, if we had Lucky Charms, that was the go-to cereal.
I was more of a Frosted Flakes or a Count Chocula kind of girl.
Oh yeah. My wife was Cocoa Pebbles, and Count Chocula similar in that you had this nice chocolatey milk kind of thing to drink afterwards.
Yep. It was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, let's see. Do we have any more? Yes. When you're not watching nostalgic TV, you're whipping up something incredible. What do you like to do most?
You know, I'm the biggest nerd. I read vintage cookbooks like people read novels. I just do. I mean, I'm very lucky. I find them all the time. And also my audience sends me their own vintage cookbooks as gifts all the time. And it's such an honor. And I just sit down and I make my trademark martini, which I'm not drinking too much of tonight because I'm sick. And I read cookbooks, and then I start, and it kind of inspires, you know, episodes or just my education. And then it's like, finally, it's like, okay, well, I wonder what the history behind that is. And then off I go to learn history. So that's just my jam.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So I had a bonus question, but I already asked you it earlier, so we won't ask it now. Okay. But let me go in here and see what else we have here from folks.
Great.
Okay. Thrash Pondo Ponds has a question for you. Thrash Pondo, by the way, was the guy doing the awesome Rod Serling impression there. He has his own YouTube channel. It's great. Folks should subscribe to that as well. If it's your thing, right? And he talks about like vintage science fiction and that kind of stuff on his channel. He's a total book nerd too. He's probably, as much as he watches TV and movies, he reads and reads and reads. And he's incredible. Okay. Anyway, he's asking you if you have a recipe. He says his favorite dinner as a kid was shepherd's pie. Do you have a recipe for that?
I have several recipes. So it was actually very, very popular in the 60s. And I have one that I particularly like. And you know what? I'll tell you what, reach out to me through my channel. And when I do shepherd's pie, I'll give you a shout out.
That's awesome. I'm sure he would love that, Jill.
I'll be happy to.
Okay. Tracy Rothmeyers, super fan Tracy Rothmeyers. She's a channel member. She asks, Jill, what dishes remind you of your childhood?
Wow. Those would be like the classics, the meatloafs, the macaroni and cheese. I actually have done a few episodes straight out of cookbooks from my childhood. There's one recipe called chicken with sour cream and mushrooms, which is fabulous. And it's kind of a tribute to the cookbook author. And then there's one called apricot chicken fantastic, which is nothing more than onion soup and apricots and chicken. And it's just insanely good. So a lot of the things that showed up in my kitchen as a kid.
John Collins is back, and he says, what are your favorite recipes to make from the 70s and 80s? So from those particular decades, do you have a favorite?
I have a favorite theme that I actually do often on my channel, and that would be the 1970s cocktail party. And I love the 1970s cocktail party because that's where you get to walk around, you get a cocktail in one hand, you get something to eat in the other. So I do a lot of episodes of just things you can hold in one hand. Appetizers you can hold in one hand, tons of them. And that's like what I love, because appetizers, you can make a bunch of them. They're so good. And from the past, especially if you have a party and get people to dress up, and pour the cocktails.
It sounds like fun. Sounds awesome. Mike Silva asks, what's your favorite pizza? Do you have a favorite pizza?
Wow. Yeah, that would be probably meatballs and artichokes and olives and jalapenos. I'm just naming my favorite stuff.
All
I'm
on
usually
the
in a
same
fight
pizza?
with my husband. Yeah.
All on the same pizza? Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
The more the merrier.
Love it. Love it. And I guess Mike Silva followed that up with just a general question. What's your all-time favorite recipe?
You know, that would be like saying, what's my favorite kid?
Yeah.
I wish I had an answer for you, but there's just not one that rises to the top because they're all so
Totally
special in their own way.
Totally get that. So here's a comment, not a question, but I want your reaction on this. Okay. James Dye says, no self-respecting foodie would put ketchup on a hot dog. Thoughts?
Truth be told, I do not like ketchup whatsoever. So I would be going along with that.
I'm a ketchup guy.
Are you?
I put ketchup on eggs, hot dogs, whatever. There are things that it doesn't go on, but more often than not, I think that hot dog or ketchup really adds to it something. But I think you're right. I think foodies tend to shy away from the ketchup. So I think James has a point, and you kind of corroborated it, Jill.
Yeah, I am a foodie, so.
Yep.
But yeah, if you like it, I mean, food is just like I always say. It's like cooking is not science. You make what you like. You add what you like. You don't like what you don't like. So it's like it's all do what you like.
Yeah.
Eat what you like. It's food.
Yeah, it's hard to mess up, right? I mean, butter or noodles with butter. It's hard to mess up. A comment from the Batman. The Batman is here with us tonight. He says, my dad used to get annoyed with Happy Days when they let the costume and hair style design slip. And people were wearing 70s hair and clothes. Do you remember that? It happened in the later seasons after the Fonz jumped the shark.
I actually don't remember that.
Yeah. That was one of the things. They got sloppy in those final seasons. The McGinley season, speaking of Ace.
I was going to say, did he ruin 2 shows?
Ted, you know what? Ted gets a bad rap. First off, he didn't ruin Married with Children.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
In Married with Children. And I argue that he wasn't the reason. Both the Happy Days and The Love Boat were on their way out when he joined those casts. And but it's interesting that he seems to have, he's always there. He's kind of the cousin Oliver of certain shows. Yeah. All right. Let's do this. Let's go move away from the comments. It's, I've teased it long enough. Let's go ahead and give this darn thing away. Season 1, Volume 1, DVD. It's how many DVDs are there in here? It's a 3 DVD set. So, and let me go ahead and share another screen. Let's try this one. There we go. Yes. Okay, what you need to put in the comment section, folks, is hashtag. The hashtag is critical. If you don't put it in there, you won't be part of the drawing, but hashtag loveboat. So go ahead and put hashtag loveboat. I'm going to start collecting comments. Don't do it yet. Do it now. Hashtag loveboat. Get that in there. Not join Emily. Hashtag loveboat. I didn't share the right screen soon enough. So hashtag loveboat will get you in there. We've got 5 entries. We've got 65 people in the live stream right now with us. I'm going to wait till at least I get 30 or so people in for this drawing. So hashtag loveboat, folks. That is the key. Get that in there. And while we're doing that, I'm going to, let's see.
I actually did see someone ask about cocktails. Yes, I do retro cocktails. They're mixed in there, but I do.
Awesome. And Lamont is taking exception with me about Ted McGinley. He says he destroyed Married with Children. Let's see. Tracy Rothmeyer says, no ketchup on my hot dogs. As a Chicagoan, it was blasphemy to put ketchup on a hot dog.
Yep.
And Blocked You Bear says, I live in Chicago and they go nuts when people put ketchup on their hot dogs. Huh? They put anything on hot dog, but they lose their minds when they put ketchup on the hot dog.
Yeah, they've got a big no ketchup rule there.
The Batman points out that Cousin Oliver, also known as Robbie Wrist, keeps sneaking into shows to ruin them. Really, just the Brady Bunch. That again wasn't his fault. That was a last-ditch effort to try to save that show. Let's see. We've got a question from, is that the...
Oh, that's it.
Yep.
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 But I will tell you really quick, I have done a Love Boat episode where I throw a ton of Love Boat trivia. Oh. And if you want to find it, I talk about Isaac. I talk about why he does that. And I make a Bloody Mary and a pina colada as a salute to him. So if you want to find that, it's out there.
Awesome. And I think this statement just works. It works no matter what. It's Chachi's fault.
Yeah.
Poor Scott Baio.
Chachi.
Let's see. All right. Let's see. We've got 22. I was hoping we'd get a few more people in the drawing. Let's go to 25, and then I'm going to hit the draw button.
Come on, guys.
Come on, folks. Get me a few more entries. You could do it. The Batman says that Robbie Wrist was in Galactica 1980. Yes. Yeah, I tried to forget Galactica 1980, but I remember. He wasn't in all of the episodes, though. He was Dr. Z in that show, and they replaced him mid-season for some reason. Well, there were only a handful of episodes of Galactic 80, but they replaced him after the first couple of episodes. And yes, Tom, he did indeed look like John Denver's son, Robbie Wrist. Well, they looked almost identical, just a young mini John Denver. That's what he looked like. All right, I see 26 entries, so let's do it. Let's go ahead and click on the draw button, and we'll see who is the winner this evening. Jill Carter. Jill. Awesome. Jill is a frequent community member. She's always on these live streams, so I am so excited that Jill is the winner this evening.
Love the name.
Congratulations, Jill. Here's where I need you to send your address to. Let me throw this up on the screen. There's the email address. Go ahead, and I'll leave that up for a minute or so. But if you'll just jot that down and send me your address, I will get this DVD. Let me see, where are we? This lovely DVD set to you so that you can enjoy and relive those amazing adventures on the Love Boat. Jill, you talked about all the guest stars that were on that show. Do you have time to stick around with me and play a little guessing the guest stars game?
Sure.
Awesome. Let's see here. Let me find the right screen for that. I'm going to have to remove this screen and share this screen. There we go. Love Boat says trivia. It's not trivia. It's just a little guessing game. But let's go ahead and I'm going to pull up my timer so that we can keep this show on schedule for the most part. Let me get my timer, my 30-second timer here. Got to get rid of the good stuff banner up there in the corner. And we'll have the 30-second timer ready to go. So let's go ahead, and what I'm going to do is I obscure the face, for the most part, of the guest. Jill, if you think you know who it is, don't say anything at first. We'll let folks kind of guess in the chat, and then when we get to the end, if you know, great. If you don't know, great as well. We'll look in the chat and see if someone knows who it is. These are fairly difficult. All right, so let's go to the first one. I don't know if this one's very difficult. This one might be a little bit easier than some of the others. I see you doing a little dance, so when we get to the end here, you can share who it is. Do you remember the name of the character, though? That's the question.
Yes.
You do? Awesome.
I do.
All right. We're almost done. Okay. Time's up. Jill, who is it?
That's Miss Coochie Coochie Charo, who played April.
Yes, exactly. I'm thinking April Lopez. Am I right? Or
I think wrong? So. The last name escaped me, but I think you're right.
I don't know why. I might just be adding that. That might not be right. Okay, Charo, yes. By the way, a tremendous, an internationally renowned flamenco guitar player. Oh, you can see there's clips of her on YouTube that just blow my mind.
Oh yeah, she's
how
amazing.
Good she is. And on the Love Boat, you would never guess that is really her talent, but she is an amazing musician.
Yep.
All right, number 2, here we go. This one might be somewhat easy too. I don't know. It's easy for me because I'm a big fan of this show. All right, we'll give folks a minute or 15 more seconds, and then we'll. All right, is this one stumping you?
Yes.
Okay. We'll go out to the community and see.
Like, I have a guess, but I don't think I'm right.
Do you want to guess it?
Right now?
Yeah.
Is that Erin Moran?
It is not. But that is a really good guess because roughly I'd say the same height and very similar hairdo. Let me look in the chat. I'm just going to randomly pull someone up here. I'm going to go with the one that Brenda Bunch said, Erin Moran or Joyce DeWitt. That is Joyce. Of course. Yes. All right. Good job, Brenda. Nicely done. Bringing it home. Hopefully, Jill, you've got that address there. I don't want to say it out loud, but it's there for you to write down. Okay. And let me remove that if I can. And we will go on to our next one. Mystery guest number 3. Yeah. She's got it. Okay, that didn't take long at all. We'll give folks a minute or two. Not a minute. We'll just give them a few more seconds. And while we're doing that, let me look over at the comments here. I like the Batman's comments. Going back to the last one, he said, so it wasn't Roddy McDowell then? No.
He's funny.
All right. Let me get the timer off there. And who do you think it is, Jill?
I think it's Florence Henderson.
The lovely Florence Henderson. Mrs. Brady, indeed. Nicely done. We'll keep moving. Mystery guest number 4. This one is a tough one. I'm going to go on mute for a second while I cough. Announcing my cough is probably just as bad as coughing into the mic, but
well, I've been sneezing all night, so no worries.
Okay. 10 seconds left. Yeah, this one's a tough one. Are you going to guess, or should we go out to the community on it?
I have a guess, but I'm pretty sure I'm wrong.
Okay, let's hear your guess.
I don't know I don't remember his real name. It's the one who played Squiggy, Lenny and Squiggy, David something.
You would think that almost from the hair, right? David Landers is who you're thinking of. But it's not. It's an SCTV alumnus.
Really?
If you he goes by many other names. Ed Grimley is one of them. Does that ring a bell?
Totally, and I can't think of his name.
Let's let someone in the community tell us.
Yes.
We will go with, let's see. You scroll down to the bottom. Let's see. Mike Silva says Martin Short is the correct answer. Who, by the way, I loved. Have you seen that Only Murders in the Building show that he did with Steve Martin and Selena on Hulu?
I've seen it pop up on Hulu, but I have not watched it.
So good. So good.
Oh.
Yep. Oh, Mike Silva earlier said Pee Wee Herman. Ed Grimley was kind of like Pee Wee Herman. He might have been responding to someone when he said that. Okay. Let's keep moving. bouncing back and forth. It is fun. There he is, Martin Short.
There you go.
Early in his career, that was the thing about Love Boat. You had these folks that were legends, like Vincent Price. And I have a couple legends coming up here, by the way. But you also had folks that were brand new kind of to the entertainment industry. And this Love Boat would be one of their first gigs as well. Kind of cool. Mystery guest number 5. I can start the timer there. Yeah.
Of course.
Of course. Let's let folks guess for a few more seconds. And I'll look at the comments while we're doing that. Let's see. Kenneth Wilkinson wants to know, Jill, if you know how to make a fruit cake.
I do. Haven't done an episode out of it, but I do. I actually made some very fruit cake-like cookies one Christmas that are, I think, better than the fruit cake. But yes, I do know how. And if you want, I'll add it to my list is huge, and I film way in advance. But I'm happy to add it. But that's more of like a holiday episode.
That does feel like a holiday episode, something you do towards the tail end of the year.
Yeah. But thank you, Kenneth.
All right. And your guess, Jill?
It's either Audrey or Judy, one of the Landers sisters.
It is Judy. Yep. Okay, good job. Boy, you are just knocking it out of the park tonight. Good work. Okay, let's keep moving. Number 6. I think there's 12 of these. I think I did 12. And here we go.
Oh, yep.
Oh, wow. That wasn't even that fast, huh?
That fast.
Holy cow.
Now, I could always be wrong, but that fast.
John Collins is asking me or you, is there a DVD box set of The Love Boat? I am guessing that if we went on to Amazon, you could probably buy the entire series, but lots of folks don't want to spend, that 70, 80, 90 bucks.
Yeah.
And they just do what I've done in many cases, which is, pick up the seasons as they're released. But I can't really answer that question, John. I'm not sure whether there is or not. What I do know is you can go over to Pluto TV and watch it nonstop. They have a Love Boat channel over there, which is fun.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yes. Who is it, Jill?
That would be Mr. Tom Hanks.
Correct. Again, early in Mr. Hanks' career, his guest starring gig. He might have been doing Bosom Buddies at the time.
He looks like he was.
Feels like a Bosom Buddies kind of.
Yeah.
Hairdo there. All right, mystery guest number 7. Here we go. This one's tougher. Definitely. While we think about that one, let me see. Are there any other questions we can get to? Or see. Oh, here's a memory from The Love Boat. Blotchy Bear says, I never forgot Janet Jackson, who made an appearance on The Love Boat a year before her breakthrough album Control. Wow.
Huh.
That would have been like 84-ish.
Yeah.
84.
Right
One of the final years of The Love Boat, maybe. Great comment.
Yes.
I remember Janet from, she was on Good Times, but
right.
She was also Willis's girlfriend on Different Strokes.
Wow, I forgot about that. Yeah. Well, you are the man.
Well, yeah. I just wish I could remember like things that are important, like things that I was told to do yesterday. And, instead of all this crap that's stuck in my head from decades gone by. Any idea who this is?
My only guess would be Sandy Duncan.
Okay, not
because I know she was on it.
Duncan, but yes, she was. Let's see if anybody got this. Oh, Superfan Superplex got it. Let's go ahead and share his answer.
Oh,
it is the mother of Princess Leia.
Wow,
Debbie Reynolds.
Yep. Never would have got that. Good job.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Okay, let's keep moving. Maximus Prime got that as well. Lots of folks did. Let's see. You guys never fail to impress me with your knowledge. Never fail. Okay. As we keep moving, let me get back over to the timer and let's look at the next one. This is another legacy, like legendary kind of actor. looking to see if we have any other memories folks sharing. Oh, on that last one, it looks like the Batman said that that was Robbie Risk there.
Batman is one funny
Nice.
guy.
The Batman is a funny guy. I didn't know the Batman had such a a keen sense of humor. I just saw his movie the other day, and not a single joke during those entire 3 hours was uttered by the Batman.
Well, that's why he's being so funny
making up
tonight.
for it tonight. All right, let me get rid of that comment. And any guesses on this one?
Not a clue. I'm gonna.
Does that help?
Don
Amici,
Amici. I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Of course, I loved him in Trading Places. That's what I remember him from.
Yep.
And I believe this was an appearance after that movie.
Wow.
Let's see. Let's keep moving. Keep moving. Mystery guest number 9. I'm well over the hour. I'm sorry, Jill. I'm sorry I'm keeping you here.
I can't leave the house. I'm sick. So
Okay. All righty. This is another tough one. I don't think she's not a major star, but a star nonetheless. I should probably start the timer. Might only give folks 15 seconds here of this since we need to keep moving, but while we give them a second or two to answer. Okay, I see another question from John Collins. I'm going to stop the timer here. Then I'll answer that question before we show who this is. John is asking, does Pluto show the shows in order? I do not think so. I have not sat through, I've seen them, Pluto has a grid and it'll show which episodes they are. And often it'll be the same seasons, but I'm not sure if it shows them in the exact order that you might want to watch them in. But the great thing about The Love Boat, John, is that it really doesn't, other than, there were some character changes. Lauren Twees left the show for a while, and there's some things like that. And of course, Vicky became more of a main character as the seasons went on. And then there was Julie's sister that came on as the cruise director, all that stuff. But it's not all that critical to watch it in order. It's one of those shows that you can just pluck out an episode from one year, and then you can watch one from 4 years earlier, and it doesn't matter. Would you agree with that, Jill?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're timeless.
Yeah.
They're like a soap opera. Just pop in anytime.
Yeah. It's easy entertainment. It doesn't require a lot of thought. Yeah. That's one of the things I love about that show is you just put it on, and even if you had to step out for a second to take a phone call or something, you don't even need to rewind. You can just it'll take care of itself.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Let me get rid of that comment, and we'll see who this is. Any idea, Jill?
Michelle somebody?
Michelle somebody.
I don't know. Vanessa Williams. No.
Miss America.
Would have never guessed that.
That's a tough one. All right. We'll keep moving. Hopefully this one's a little easier. I feel bad. Those last couple have been tough. Let's see. So here we go. Oh, yeah. This is easy, but it's obscured enough that it might be hard.
I have a guess.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay. Hang on. Let's see if I see any more questions. Jeff Sadden says, I drive by the Love Boat dock in San Pedro all the time. Very cool. Very cool. I'm way behind everybody, so it's falling behind on the comments. Okay, let's see here. Jill, who do you think it is?
Donny Osmond?
You are correct.
Whoa!
Mr. Donald J. I think J's his middle initial. Donald J. Osmond. Yes. I'm a Donny Osmond fan. I loved, being from Utah, I loved the Donnie and Marie show and all that stuff.
I used to watch it all the time.
And I watch clips of it now, and, I've even shared some clips on the live stream from time to time, and they're so cheesy. It's so cheesy.
Oh, it's right up there with the Sonny and Cher show.
Yeah. Okay. Number 11.
Okay.
Better start a timer. Let me start a timer here. All right. We'll get that timer going. Let's see. Oh, TJ921 Abel says that last one looked like Richard Klein. I can see that where it would look like, and he was on that show too. I remember the Richard Klein show. The Batman says I hated Donny Osmond because my girlfriend loved him. John H. says the Osmonds taped their variety show in later seasons when they got sick of Hollywood. Yeah, they did. I remember when they made the big move too. It's a city about an hour away from where I grew up and live now. Even I live in the same county, but it was in Provo, which is where there's a big university there. Brigham Young University's there as well. All right, so let's hide this comment. Great comment, but let's hide it. And any guesses on this one? Big star, big star, Jill.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, you wouldn't even guess that she would be on the show. That big.
I'm just going to leave it up to your capable audience. Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah.
Wow.
And they probably, there were a number of folks that got it. I see TJ921 Abel got it. Mike Silva said Jamie. Phoebe Coates would have been a good guess.
Wow.
Still only 35 cents. Let me see what other. That's about all we got in the guessing. Oh, Dana Plato. Someone guessed Dana Plato.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, and John Collins said one of the famed Heathers from the 80s. Hair's too dark for the famed Heathers, I think. Let's see. All right. Let's go ahead and hide that. We've got one more left.
Okay.
Mystery. And it's hard. I feel like I should have put some of the easy ones at the end so we feel like we're getting better. But I did make the hard ones, I think, at the very end. But he's a fairly big star again. So we'll get everything ready. There we go. But it's just, I think I've obscured too much. I think the obscuring is a little too much here. It makes it hard. But we'll let folks guess for a second. You can tell me what you think, Jill. Donnie Marie's show was on Friday night. Fred Silverman he green-lighted the Donnie Marie show. He didn't create it. If you remember correctly, speaking of the Crofts, it was a Croft production. Sid and Marty Croft.
It was?
Yes, it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. And in later seasons, I think it kind of became a co-venture between Croft and Osmond Productions. But yeah, the Crofts, they had their hands in everything in the 70s. They were such a force to be reckoned with.
They were amazing.
Yeah. Let's see. And get rid of that comment real quick. And Jill, do you want to guess?
I don't remember his name, but was he the one that played the dad on Good Times?
He sure was. John
Amos.
Good. He was also in Roots. I don't know if you remember him in Roots, but really talented actor. Yeah. He was in another one of my favorite movies. Do you remember The Beastmaster?
The name, yes. Have I seen it? No.
It's the guy that was in V. I don't know if you remember that V show. Mark Singer.
I remember V.
And he was played Dar is his name on the show, and he's like from another world. It's just really another dimension almost and he could talk to animals. And John Amos was in the very first movie, The Beastmaster, which it played on HBO so many times that I can't remember which comedian, but there was a comedian that said, I just remember this line. It was so funny. He said, I was watching HBO last night. You guys all remember what HBO stands for, right? Hey, Beastmaster's on. That's how much they played Beastmaster in the late 80s on that show. Wow. All right. Well, I'd say we were at least over 50%. Good job. Round of applause to you. Nice work, Jill. Well, let me see if I can find the confetti. You deserve a little confetti for your efforts tonight. Nice work. Woo!
Love it.
And it definitely deserved confetti and some hearts for hanging out with me for an hour and a half. That's incredible. Thank you so much especially when you're feeling just the way you've been feeling tonight. I really, really appreciate your willingness to hang out with me.
This has been so much fun. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I had an absolute blast. Your audience is awesome.
They are incredible. So again, why don't you just tell folks that may have joined us late who you are, what you do, and give them just a little bit of taste of what you do on your channel.
Sure. I am right here on YouTube under YesterKitchen, which is my name right now. Not Jill, just YesterKitchen. And I cook from the 30s to the 80s, and I tell all the stories behind the recipes. I'm a culinary storyteller. And I just kind of do what Dave does, but instead of celebrating TV of the past, I celebrate food of the past. So chances are you're going to remember a lot of the dishes I made, and you had a lot of them growing up. And I love to hear your childhood memories.
And sometimes things intersect too, because you have that one video where it's the I can't remember the name. Who's the actress that played the mother on the Addams Family in that fish dish?
Morticia Addams. Yep,
Yeah.
that fish dish.
Yes, the fish
Carolyn
dish.
Jones. Yep, I did a recipe right from
Carolyn
her.
Jones, that's right.
Talked a little bit about the Addams Family. Nothing like what you would do, but
no, but it's nice when you get a little bit of that. You get a little bit of you get the cooking piece. You get your personality and your memories and the stories that you tell. I just think it's a when you think about a recipe for success for a YouTube channel, I think you've got it. So I'd encourage folks to go over and check out Jill's channel. And I'd also want to say to everybody that hung out with us tonight, I mean, holy cow, an hour and a half hanging out with us, listening to us talk, playing a little Love Boat game, guessing game with us. It was kind of hard. I appreciate. Oh, let me please repost your email for Jill is what I'm hearing. Hang on a second. Let me do that really quick because I'm about ready to say goodbye to everybody. Holy cow. Let me see.
Put myself on mute so I can sneeze again.
I will mute you. Yep. Go ahead. There is the email address again, Jill. Go ahead and I'll leave it up for the remainder of the live stream. But what I just wanted to say to everybody is thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. It's been an awesome live stream. It's been so much fun getting to know Jill, and it's so much fun seeing your questions. And Brenda, I think that's a great suggestion around doing a live stream on the Series V. I loved that series, particularly the first mini-series. The second one, Final Conflict, was pretty good too. TV series, just kind of diminishing returns, but I really did love V. And I've done a video or two on it, and I'd be happy to host a live stream in the future about that. But with that, again, thank you, Jill. Thank you, everyone. I just hope everybody has a tremendous night and a great remainder of the week. And, keep watching the good stuff on TV, folks. Good night.
I will.